Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. Police recover 9 exploded ordnances from Kano explosion site, say blast was not caused by improvised explosive device. Security operatives announce arrest of suspects linked to the recent massacre in Yelwata, Benue State. South Africa wades into the controversy between late Zambian President Edgar Lungu's family and the country's government. Details shortly. The news begins in Benue State, where the police command has recovered 9 unexploded ordnances UXO from the scene of the recent explosion at Yongjin Steel Company along Ring Road, Mariri. Now, this was disclosed in a statement issued by the Deputy Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Hussaini Abdullahi. Abdullahi said the explosion was caused by a UXO, not an improvised explosive device as earlier speculated. Police investigations revealed the UXOs were unknowingly transported with scrap metal from Yobe State, and one detonated accidentally during offloading at the steel company. Commissioner of Police CP Ibrahim Adamu Bakori extended condolences to the families of the 5 people who died and wished a speedy recovery to the injured victims receiving treatment at the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. The Joint Security Services in Benue State has announced the arrest of suspects linked to recent attacks in the Yelwata area of the state, where several persons were killed. The Commissioner of Police in Benue State, Emenari Fanyi, announced the arrest at a press briefing on Sunday, but didn't disclose the identity of the suspects. Others followed President Bola Tinubu's Wednesday order that service chiefs and Inspector General of Police arrested those behind the dastardly attack. The police boss said the arrest would not have been possible without Governor Hyacinth Alia's support. Emenari also said that the deployment from IGP Kayode Egbetokun have all arrived in Benue and have been posted to rural communities to ensure effective policing. He urged landlords and hotel owners to profile their tenants and clients to avoid the presence of terror in Benue. Still talking security, the Rivers State Police Command has confirmed the assault and mutiny of the Ahoada West Local Government Administrator Goodluck Iheanacho on Friday. A statement by the Rivers State Police Public Relations Officer Grace Irene Koko revealed that a group of hoodlums numbering 30, led by the Chief Security Officer and the Chief of Staff to the Local Government Area Administrator, stormed the Council Secretariat and attacked him. In a viral video, the administrator was seen being bitten with a machete and canes by some hoodlums alongside the council secretary, coercing him to resign. Although a letter purported to be his resignation has gone viral, and the local government area administrator went on radio on Saturday to deny ever resigning. According to the police, the local government administrator is currently recuperating in the hospital, while the suspected culprits have been invited for questioning at the state police headquarters. I'm now joined by Chairman, Coalition of Rivers State Youth Bodies, Imaebe Savior. He's to provide further insight on the story. Thank you so much for joining us on the news, sir.
Good morning to Nigerians.
Now, let's first of all get your thoughts on the mob attack on the LGA administrator in Rivers State.
This situation, this is a high point of where we find ourselves in Rivers State, where pain has become a major setback in that state. It has never got this far. It has not got this bad from the beginning of this point until we find ourselves in this situation. In as much as I don't actually want to be part of seeing supporting crime. I intend to support crime, not to aid or to be part of any crime. As all which deserves some of condemnation should be one. The high political situation faced in real estate has become a major setback. Setback in the sense that what we are raising, why the sole administrator of Ahoada was beaten, or the Ahoada Eastern government administrator was, what was it? I hear
all right, sir. We would have to reconnect with you, sir. Thank you so much. We'd have to reconnect with you. Now, away from that, one of Nigeria's airlines, Air Peace, is set to commence direct flight operations to London Heathrow Airport from Abuja on October 26, 2025. Now, this followed sustained diplomatic efforts by the federal government of Nigeria to enforce reciprocity in international air travel agreements. The special advisor on media and communications to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Tunde Moshood, disclosed this in a statement. He said the breakthrough came after months of negotiations and firm diplomatic engagements with the UK authorities. Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone has been elected and sworn in as the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in Abuja. Our President Bola Tinubu, the outgoing chairman of the authority, urged member states to rally behind Bio, unite and work together towards achieving the lofty objectives of the regional bloc. News Central State correspondent Bettina Nweli reports.
Leaders from across West Africa gathered for the crucial summit, which had in attendance presidents from member states of the sub-region. The 67th Ordinary Session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government aimed to deliberate on pressing issues affecting citizens and member states of the sub-region. During his opening remarks, President Bola Tinubu called for stronger unity among member states to combat terrorism and insecurity.
The threat of insecurity, terrorism, climate change, and transitional crimes. Democracy has continued to persevere in the region with the situation in the Alliance of Iranian States, AES, countries. Under my chairmanship, I've deployed all diplomatic means to engage and dialogue with our brothers in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. I am confident that before too long, they may return to the family as we leave our doors open for the unity, solidarity, and shared vision of ECOWAS of the future.
The highlight of the summit was the newly elected chairman of the ECOWAS Authority, Heads of State and Government, and President of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio.
As chair, I will prioritize 4 key areas. First, restoring constitutional order and deepening democracy. We must engage transitional governments constructively and support member states in building stronger democratic institutions rooted in the rule of law. Second, revitalizing regional security cooperation. We must overhaul our collective security architecture, from intelligence sharing to rapid response to confront new threats with unity and resolve.
This is contrary to earlier speculation that the president of Senegal has been elected during a private meeting held prior to the session.
Let us recall the founding fathers of ECOWAS who decided to put together ECOWAS. Those who joined President Yakubu Gowon, Head of State Yakubu Gowon of Nigeria, to establish ECOWAS deserve our permanent commendation. If we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of our community this year, we owe them a lot of gratitude, and we say thank you.
With Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone, now the new chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, citizens from across the sub-region will be hoping that he can lead the authority to tackle challenges of insecurity, youth unemployment, and poor infrastructure. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
The Senate Committee on the Review of the 1999 Constitution will hold a two-day public hearing across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones on July 4th and 5th, 2025. Now, chaired by Deputy Senate President Senator Barau Jibrin, the hearings will take place simultaneously in Lagos, Enugu, Ikotekpene, Jos, Maiduguri, and Kano. The goal is to gather citizens' views on proposed constitutional amendments covering key issues such as local government autonomy, electoral and judicial reforms, state creation, and the establishment of state police. Other topics include fiscal reforms, gender equity with more seats for women in legislatures, strengthening traditional institutions, independent candidacy in elections, and diaspora voting rights. Now, this nationwide consultation aims to build a more inclusive and democratic Nigeria. The news returns after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. And now we'll be going back to the Kano explosion story, where we told you earlier that the police command, that's the state police command, had recovered 9 unexploded ordnances from the scene of the recent explosion at Yongjin Steel Company along Ring Road in Mariri. We have our Kano State correspondent standing by to give us an update on the development. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Bagudu, for joining us. Please go ahead with that update.
Yes, of course. Like we said yesterday, the metal recycling company, that's the Chinese company that actually brings together these scraps to be meant to be recycled, are actually doing a lot, in helping, take care of plastic pollution, or rather metal pollution in the state, and then in general, and the Northwest in general. But of course, this is the other side of it, where we have scavengers, putting together, abandoned metals, wasted metals, and then trying to bring them for recycling. This is happening. So that has been the issue. The discovery is actually coming from the scavenge, from all the rough metals that were gathered from Yobe and put in and were gathered into that trailer and then brought to the metal company, recycling company. That is actually what really happened. That was actually what led to the discovery of those explosives. And the police are actually still walking around to see if they can actually find more explosives in those trash, in those metals that were brought in from Yobe. And then there's more to it again. Another angle to it is the fact that whether some people are trying to take advantage of the metal recycling to bring in dangerous weapons into Kano, knowing fully well that Kano has been experiencing related peace and have not experienced any issue of insurgency ever since the Kwara issue has been tamed in the Northwest. So that's another angle to it again. But the police are actually looking at how to balance the whole situation. Yeah.
All right. So what's the exact number of people who actually died, and what is being done to console their families?
Yes, the Kano State government have not released any statement yet, and the reason is not far-fetched because the police is still trying to make investigation. So their statement and their reaction to that matter will actually depend on the outcome of police investigation, which may round up anytime soon. The total number of persons that died are just 5, and then of course 10 are injured and are currently receiving treatment at the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. So of course, none of them were died at the spot. 15 of them were taken to the hospital. Only 5 gave up the ghost in the hospital. The remaining 10 are still receiving treatment. So for now, I don't have any reports of any compensation of any treatment. But we believe that the government is taking care of their treatment because we don't have that confirmed yet. But we're going to find that as time goes. And of course, we look forward to seeing the reaction from the Kano State government. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for that update, Emmanuel. We'll definitely get back to you with if you have more updates. Away from that, Nigeria's telecom sector has become a lifeline for millions, driving innovation, financial inclusion, and job creation. But beneath its remarkable growth lies a system grappling with inflation, regulatory hurdles, and infrastructure setbacks. In this special report, we take a look at the journey of Nigeria's telecommunications industry, its past, present, and what lies ahead.
From just 300,000 active lines in 2001 to over 169 million by early 2025, Nigeria's telecommunications industry has completely transformed how people communicate, work, and do business. Once the domain of the now-defunct NITEL, the sector has evolved into one of the most liberalized and fastest-growing in Africa. Between 2000 and 2010, reforms by the Nigerian Communications Commission enabled the licensing of 4 GSM operators. Foreign direct investment soon followed, call rates dropped, and Nigeria was firmly launched into the mobile age. By 2024, the telecom sector contributed 14.4% to the nation's GDP, generating $7.6 billion. Mobile penetration continues to drive an impressive 8% annual growth rate, projected through 2028.
If we understand that this sector has stood as a crucial pillar of the country's economy and has demonstrated remarkable growth and resilience over the last 2 decades, it has gone through evolution from an asset industry to a significant economic driver, and this highlights how strategic of importance this is to the Nigeria's current data transformation agenda.
Beyond revenue, telecoms power transformation. Broadband penetration reached 48.15% in May 2025, boosting access to education, healthcare, and digital entrepreneurship. Mobile money has also expanded financial inclusion, creating over 2.3 million direct and indirect jobs.
We have become the first priority sector on whose services other subsectors of the economy is dependent. So one is regulation, the policy environment, the regulation, and the kind of investment that we attract because of the stable policy that we have, the reliable regulation that we have. By this combination of this has enabled the sector to attract the right investment, both for development and for growth.
But the journey hasn't been without setbacks. Operators continue to battle inflation, naira depreciation, soaring diesel costs, multiple taxation, and burdensome right-of-way fees. Lurking beneath it all, vandalism and weak infrastructure still threaten progress.
In terms of the telecommunication industry, I can divide them into 3 major. And the number one there will be the power problem. There are many problems that the telecommunication industry is facing that stems from this particular problem. So those equipment that power the transmission, that gives us the access to all these things, they need power. They need to be up and running every second, every minute.
Looking forward, the industry stands at a critical crossroads. The rollout of 5G, local manufacturing of devices, and the integration of artificial intelligence offer promise, but only if Nigeria modernizes its policies, streamlines bureaucracy, and ensures inclusive digital access.
These issues are being addressed, and I think in terms of support we are getting from the regulator and the policymakers, we can't ask for more at this time. I think we're in a better place than we have been in the years past, because those who currently manage the sector, they are doing excellently well, to the extent that we're now attracting the right kind of investment that we should have to optimize services, to make service available, and of course to improve on quality of services across the country.
We want the government to incentivize more sector-led investments in terms of network expansion, and also at the government level, they also need to review all of their policies that currently stands as an hindrance to the operations of telecom.
As leadership transitions at the NCC, the future of Nigeria's telecoms will rely not just on technology, but on bold strategy, good governance, and a commitment to the people. For a nation of over 200 million, connectivity is no longer a luxury. It is a fundamental right. In Lagos, for News Central, Oluwakemi Alimi.
The federal government says that it has taken over full management of the Agadagba Skills Acquisition Center in Eshodo local government area of Ondo State. At the Ministry of Youth Development in Abuja, the Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, says that the move is aimed at expanding access to vocational training and providing economic opportunities for youths, especially in riverine and underserved communities of the state. Olawande also announced plans to upgrade the facility into a national youth camp, broadening its scope to include leadership training, digital innovation, entrepreneurship, and civic engagement. The Northern Youth Council of Nigeria has tasked Kogi lawmaker Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to present evidence broadening on alleged sexual harassment leveled against the President of Senate, Goodluck Iheanacho, Bio, and the alleged murder of a youth in Akwa Ibom State in Yobong, Umorin. The council, while speaking to journalists in Abuja, says that the allegations are weighty and need to be proven beyond doubt that Akpabio is complicit of the crimes and should face the long arm of the law. The national president of the council, Isa Abubakar, says that despite the case being already in court, there is a need to ensure that justice prevails and aspersion is not cast on any innocent citizen.
We dedicated ourselves to advocating for justice and fairness for all individuals, particularly those who have experienced harassment. We recognize the importance of amplifying the voice of victims, but we also stress that accusation must be grounded in factual evidences. The absence of such evidences can regrettably lead to a miscarriage of justice, as we have seen in the past, where individuals have faced severe consequences based on solely an unproven allegation. We are 100% behind her, but to clear our doubt that we are behind her, that we were also behind, she also come up with evidences for us. That this is what has happened, this is evidence, these are chats, these are communication between her and the person of the Senate President.
Nigeria's federal government has flagged off the implementation of its approved pricing structure for auto-compressed natural gas in the country. And this was made known during the flag-off ceremony by the Program Director of the Presidential Initiative for Compressed Natural Gas, Michael Oluwagbemi, in Abuja. Oluwagbemi says that the new framework will help harness opportunities in the sector, attracting investors and helping develop a viable market which will give investors the assurance to invest in the sector.
Authority Chief Executive of the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency approved a concessionary pricing structure for auto gas CNG. What we are doing here today is to flag off the implementation of that concessionary pricing framework, because it was necessary, as you can imagine, that in an economy where gas is being used for various purposes, that it's possible for someone to say, I want to make demands of gas for auto CNG since it's priced lower, and then go and use it for power. So there's a potential opportunity for arbitrage. So we needed to do it in an organized fashion, create the proper market for auto gas CNG, and also then develop the marketplace where people can actually make demand, pay for it, get their gas, and then use it and sell it into the auto CNG market.
The DGDR is the instrument that is used to determine what quantity of gas will be utilized in country, and is spread across the various sectors. So for the mobility CNG sector, 40 million scf was captured as the projected demand for 2025. Now, towards that end, GACN, along with our key stakeholders, sourced gas, and we have been able to get 20 million scof. So there's a contract for 20 million scof that has been executed and operationalized, meaning 20 million scof is currently available for the auto CNG sector today.
The availability of converted cars and CNG cars means that there's a ready market for auto gas. And the investors that are sitting in the room with us, they need to know and understand this, so that if they do invest millions of dollars, they have a market that is ready to take this product off them. So whilst we're discussing the framework of how this mobility gas will be carried out within the framework, and the most important thing, which is the pricing, it also helps them to determine what the price will be at the end, to the end customer at the pump.
Hundreds of Nigerians converged on the MKO Abiola National Stadium in Abuja to mark the International Day of Yoga. The event, organized by the Indian High Commission in Nigeria in collaboration with the National Sports Commission, celebrated the ancient practice of yoga and its growing popularity in Nigeria. News Central correspondent Aishat Salihu brings us the highlights.
Keep your knees, your toes stretched out.
Mats were rolled out, shoes set aside, and the sound of gentle music guided hundreds of participants through a sequence of stretches and meditative breathing. The 11th International Day of Yoga, initiated by the United Nations in 2014, is observed on June the 21st every year around the world. This year's event brings together yoga enthusiasts, health advocates, and diplomats in a moment of physical and spiritual unity.
The year's theme is Yoga for One Health, One Earth, One Health. It becomes very important, especially in the current times that we are living in. It is important that personal well-being and the well-being of Mother Earth is taken as symbiotic to each other. We're all interconnected. Environmental sustainability and a sustainable future of our generations is very, very important to ensure, and that's what has inspired the theme for this year.
Well, you know, we are a National Sports Commission. We are for all sports. We are for all activities. So anything we have to do to advance sports, to advance physical health, to advance collaboration between Nigeria and other countries, it all sits around sports. So we have to do it, and we are quite glad that we collaborate with the Indian High Commission for them to be able to give them the enablers to put this together. You can see the thousands of people across Abuja and even beyond Abuja that came to participate.
The session included traditional asanas, breathing techniques known as pranayama, and even a few minutes of laughter yoga, a practice that had participants letting go of tension and finding inner peace.
Yoga means the union of body, breath, mind. So when you're in harmony with yourself, then you become in harmony with the nature also. So yoga is all about how you can keep your body fit, how you can relax your mind, how you can be more productive and constructive. So when your mind is calm, you're able to focus better, your efficiency goes up, your intuition goes up, your abilities to handle different situations becomes better.
So when we heard about the 11th International Yoga Day, we decided to come and see how it is. So when we're not on the streets, we'll be indoor doing our yoga.
As the mats were rolled back up and the event came to a close, many left not just with a better stretch, but with a sense of inner peace and a reminder that yoga, though ancient, remains relevant in today's fast-paced world.
From breathing exercises to bending poses, today's event serves as a powerful reminder of the timeless value of wellness. As yoga continues to grow in Nigeria, so too does the spirit of international friendship it fosters. From inside the MKO Abiola National Stadium in Abuja, reporting for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Coming up, ex-Zambian president's family says he'll be buried in South Africa. We'll tell you more after the break. Join us again. away from Nigeria, the South African government has sent the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, to meet Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema to try and mediate between the family of Zambia's late President Edgar Lungu, which was announced on Friday that he will be buried in South Africa after a row with the Zambian government over its plans for a state funeral. Lungu's family on Wednesday stopped his body from being repatriated from South Africa, where he died in hospital on June 5th after it emerged that President Hakainde Hichilema planned to receive it upon arrival against the late leader's wishes. In response, Hichilema cut short an extended period of national mourning for Lungu, whom he replaced in 2021 after winning elections. In other news from around the world, there are reports of impacts from a fresh wave of Iranian strikes since the U.S. announced it had attacked the country's nuclear facilities on Saturday evening. Now, the U.S. attacked 3 key Iranian nuclear facilities earlier on Sunday. President Donald Trump claimed the operation obliterated the sites, but officials are still assessing how significant of a blow it dealt to Tehran's program. In response, Iran fired 15 missiles, triggering sirens across Israel in prolonged attack overnight, but no injuries have been reported. Meanwhile, a spokesman for the Iranian military's Khatam al-Anbiya unit has warned that powerful operations with heavy consequences await the United States following its bombardment of 3 major nuclear sites. We'll return after the break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now, still talking about, the Middle East conflict, where there are reports of impacts from a fresh wave of Iranian strikes, since the U.S. announced it had attacked the country's nuclear facility on Saturday evening. We have joining us Rolen Marx from Israel to share insights on development in the Middle East region. Rolen is a journalist and has been trailing developments in the Middle East. Thank you for joining us on the news, Rolen.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, what is the general mood among Israeli citizens since the beginning of the conflict with Iran? How have people been coping with the ongoing tensions?
Well, we are all very much sleep deprived because Iran has been firing at our civilian centers during the night and during the day and forcing millions of us into our shelters. In fact, I said to your producer, if I do get an alert while we are speaking, I will have to dash off to the shelter. But the Israeli people are strong. Our resilience muscle has been tested these last now nearly 21 months, but we are very, very strong. We know exactly that this needs to be done, not just for our sake, but for the region and for everybody in the free world. So we understand that even though we are paying a very, very heavy price at the moment with a lot of civilian structures, the hospital in Soroka last week, residential buildings, a clinic for special needs children, all of those, a mosque, all of those being hit by these Iranian ballistic missiles. We know that this is a price to pay in order to ensure freedom for the Iranian people, for the people of Israel, the Middle East, and the world.
Okay. Now, what measures has the Israeli government, taken to protect its citizens and infrastructure during this conflict?
I think that's an excellent question because unfortunately we are a country that is used to be surrounded by enemies who want our destruction, and in order to protect our civilian population, it is law that most homes after being built in 1992, without exception, each have a safe room. This is a fortified room that we can go into and seek shelter. For older structures, there are communal bomb shelters or shelters downstairs. So the government have made sure, first of all, that we have these structures in place. And second of all, the idea of home front command gives us a warning. It's about a 10 or so minute warning that missiles are expected, that we need to move towards the safe rooms, the safe areas, and then we get those sirens to go inside. And thank goodness for this, because if we didn't have this, the civilian death toll would be absolutely astronomical. For a lot of the residential structures that we have seen destroyed, the only rooms that remain are these safe rooms, and thank goodness people are dazed, but okay. It's recommended that we go in with our pets, with everybody in our families, and stay there until we are given the all clear from our army to emerge.
Now, Rolen, looking at how this conflict has affected daily life for ordinary Israelis, in your view, is there a role that Israel should play in seeking a peaceful resolution with Iran?
Well, this is a very good question, because the Iranian regime under the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei do not want peace. They have stated very, very clearly, death to Israel, who they call the little Satan, death to America, who they call the bigger Satan, and death to the West. So this is very much a regime that does not want peace through any negotiations. And this is very much a regime that has fought many throughout the world, not just Israelis, through their proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and various other terrorist groups that have surrounded Israel in what we call a ring of fire. So I doubt there is any negotiation that can be done with the Iranian regime. However, what we are seeing is something quite extraordinary with the Iranian people, who have been oppressed for decades. Women who have been beaten and even killed for uncovering their hair. Any political dissidents rounded up, tortured and killed. Members of the LGBTQ community hanged as young as 13. So I think what we are seeing now is, for any peace to come, that will be done with the Iranian people and new leadership, because it is very, very obvious that this regime, which has sworn to the destruction of Israel and the West, is not a negotiating partner.
All right, well, thank you so much, Rolen, for your time and for speaking to us on this.
It's my pleasure, anytime.
The news returns after the break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying. Now, joining us to speak more on Edgar Lungu's funeral and the developments surrounding it, we have former Vice President for Hakainde Hichilema UPND Party, Kanya Banda, joining us from Lusaka, Zambia, for more on this. Thank you so much, Kanya, for joining us.
It's Canisius.
Calicious
Banda.
Okay. Oh, apologies for that, Calicious. We apologize for that. Now, Calicious.
Afternoon. You're welcome.
All right. Can you speak to us on your personal sentiments about Edgar Lungu being buried in South Africa instead of Zambia? How do you feel about this decision?
What has brought us here today is retribution. What is happening in Zambia today illustrates everything that is wrong with retribution. Today, when the current president is reminded of the ill treatment, his ill treatment of the late president before he died, every time he was reminded of his ill treatment of his colleague, he would refer to the atrocities which President Lungu committed against him when he was in the opposition. Commonly, he would say that he was jailed 15 times plus. There was a time he was imprisoned and he slept on a court floor in a room with fecal matter. And though not true, he claims that he was put on death row. Now, he reminds the world, he reminds citizens about these things all the time. The ill treatment of Lungu is highlighted. Now, you will note that President Lungu has been living with medical conditions for a long time. Every Zambian is aware of that. Even when he was Republican president, he used to seek medical treatment locally and abroad. So when he left office in 2021, he handed over power peacefully, he left. He was required to continue to see his doctors. Now, every time he wanted to leave the country for South Africa, where his doctors are domiciled, the current regime, the UPND government, President Hakainde Hichilema, would stop him. And he was stopped not once, not twice, but 3 times. And you won't believe it, there was a time he was going to see his doctors, and he had even gotten on a plane. He had boarded already, and the state got on it and got him out of the plane and said, hey, you're not going anywhere. So the government of Zambia was not kind, did not treat the former Republican president in accordance with expectations of humanity and the citizens. And so where we are today, the differences between the family and the government of Zambia today are founded in retribution. The actions of the current government are seen to be acts of revenge.
Sadly, Mr. Banda, we sincerely apologize, but time is not on our side and we would have to wrap up this conversation now. But thank you so much for speaking to us, and we'll definitely bring you back, to speak more on this. Well, that's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that President Tinubu hands over as ECOWAS chair to Sierra Leone's Julius Bio. We also told you that Tinubu mourns Benue suicide bombing and Kano explosion victims. Finally, you heard that a Zambian UN peacekeeper has been killed in Northeast Central African Republic ambush. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching.